morning, riders. We've got Mighty Mouse loaded up in the back of the Dodge on this slightly snowy morning. We are heading to do an Easter egg hunt ride put on by Carns Equipment at Clearfield, PA. That's up near Benazet, so we may see some elk. I think there's something like 200 buggies that's gonna be there, so there's gonna be quite a few out to it on this chilly morning. Should be a pretty good time.
So this was Carns' very first year for putting on an event like this, and for being their first year, I say the turnout was really, really good. You can see here, this is only a small percentage of the machines that was actually out to this event for the Easter egg hunt. So being their first year, it was a good turnout and a good variety of different machines.
So Dan, you lucked out and you do get to drive your own machine today.
They sold like 4 of them before this event, like just in the last 3 days, and we're all like, what are we gonna ride? And then the last one was that Turbo S, and then they said Joe from Polaris was taking it, and I'm like, darn it. But like,
you got a good old Razor 1000 here.
I wanted that one.
NA. What is this, the Rocks and Rally or whatever?
Rocks and Trails. I think it's gear reduced too, so it might not even, I think the Rocks and Trails are gear reduced. So
you'll probably still hump pretty good though.
I don't know, I haven't drove it yet, but the guy that had this has now 2 Pro XPs, and they're really nice. He's from New York, so he had a lot of New York riding on this.
I'm a little worried because I did hear a strange noise coming from somewhere in the turbo system, so a little worried, but we'll see how she goes today.
So the unique thing about this ride is it was entirely on the road. Up in Benazet, most of the roads up around that area are marked for ATVs and side-by-sides. You are allowed to ride on the road. So that was one of the main attractions to me, is because around where I live, you can't ride side-by-sides and ATVs on the road, but up here you were. And basically what it involved was just riding around to different locations, like you can see this stop right here. You stop in, they had a whole bin full of Easter eggs. You grab an Easter egg, it's full of candy and a ticket. Hopefully not all of them were full of tickets. Some of them were full of more than one ticket. And then at the end, you put your name, number on the ticket, put it into a box for a prize, and you could win said prize. Now it was cold here, so as you guys probably know, GoPros don't like the cold. So not a whole lot of footage from this event because my GoPros kept screwing up, but I'll share with you what I can, and I gotta say I had a blast. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but despite Mighty Mouse being turboed, there's still just no way I could keep up with 2 Razors, especially a turbo Razor, which was the one right in front of me. But I will say that the little guy did hold his own pretty well. But still, that top speed of 41 miles an hour was kind of hurting in these long straight stretches. But luckily, we did still have to obey all traffic laws, and the speed limit was only like 35, I think, max for most of the roads we were on.
Well, we made it a couple stops in, and now it's starting to put down some snow. Make things interesting.
Once again missed the turn we were supposed to take, and it was at this point where me and the Polaris rep Joe, who's in front of me here, was really questioning why we let Dan lead the group. And unfortunately, it was at this part of the ride where I started having issues with Mighty Mouse. The main issue was I kept getting a check engine light. The Mighty Mouse seemed to be running fine, other than it wasn't building boost. I mentioned there at the beginning of the video, you heard me telling Dan and you guys before we started that Mighty Mouse was making a weird noise, and it wasn't building boost. I still think it has to do with that cheap blow-off valve I'm running.
I got an engine light on. Oh boy. But now it's off. Whenever I stop it, it's flashing. So I don't know what's...
I thought you just tried to call me because I didn't see you. I was like, no.
Yeah, I got a flash. I'm not overheating, but it's the engine lights flashing.
I can smell the antifreeze. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So I may head up to the truck and...
Head up to the truck real quick?
Yeah.
Alright.
We're not far from that.
So I looked things over real quick and couldn't see anything physically wrong. Antifreeze wasn't spilling out all over the place. Oil still looked clean. So since the buggy was still running fine, I continued to do the rest of the Easter egg hunt ride with it, and she ran fine. Now just before the ride, I did change some things as far as switching out a colder spark plug. It messed with the tuning a little bit, and I'm thinking that's probably all that was going on, is I didn't have things running quite right, and I was running a bit rich from time to time. So I'm going to put stuff back to how I had it before, ride it, and see if that solves the issue. And if it is, then I know I need to tweak my tuning a little bit for the changes I've made. So there were 9 stops total that we had to hit in this Easter egg hunt, and they were all fairly close together, all located here in the little town of Benezet. So the actual Easter egg hunt part of this event did not take very long. However, once we collected all the Easter eggs, we were free to continue to ride for however long we wanted to. So once we make this last stop here at this little convenience store, I was brave enough, or maybe foolish enough, you may say, to jump in the Razor with Dan and experience something I've never experienced before, because usually I'm the driver, he's the passenger. Well, like I said, I was brave enough to be the passenger for Dan today, and we just cruised around in the Razor then for a good hour or two.
The Rocks and Trails edition, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's set up with a softer suspension than usual.
Yeah, the wind's pretty good. We're at 20.
Okay, where's the grab handle? There it is.
You seen him rip the turbo last, and how much it didn't leak. The power is sitting in this already. You can tell this thing's way more.
Fancy ride, man. I got that on my phone.
I don't know how to use it on my phone.
Ooh, orange.
Yeah, put that in there. My boss has been eating oranges a lot lately.
all joking aside, Dan handled the Razor very well, and we had a blast for the entire day. And I think everyone else that was out for the event did so as well. For being the first year for an event like this, the turnout again was excellent, and I can see this as being something Carns is going to continue to do for the next several years at least, and it's going to continue to grow. So big thank you to Carns Equipment and Mountain Extreme for putting on this event. Thank you to Dan for inviting me along and allowing me to ride with him and try to keep up with him and the Razor with Mighty Mouse. And thank you guys for watching. So until next time, God bless and keep on riding.